Pugh! That'll do it! That will do it! Pugh for Bournemouth! The roof of the Gold Sands is raised! Everyone here knows what that could mean to this football.
Bloody hell. Football, honest to God. I thought we had done it. Josh King's chance, well, Callum Wilson's chance that came off Josh King, that Harry Wilson chance, it ultimately wasn't to be. It was a better performance. VAR got in the way of a victory, but ultimately it was correct. UTCIAD, unsubstantial threatening chances in attacking departments. It could be called that because we weren't at our attacking best, but certainly performance-wise, it was much, much better. If you want to take part on today's show, all you need to do is grab a pair of headphones and go to afcbpodcast.com/take part. The room may be full once there's a number of people inside. What we're going to do is anyone that takes part, we're going to bring you in and take you straight out and give as much chance to other people as we can to be in the show. First person I'm going to bring in today is Mr. Tiggs, and alongside him is podcast stalwart Jeff Hayward. Tony, thoughts on that today?
Oh, it's a shame that you can't get like 2.5 points, isn't it, or 2 points, or there's something in between. I thought that we probably should have been 1-0 down. If that had been us, I would have wanted that penalty. So, with that in mind, despite our goal being ruled out, I think it's a hard-earned, well-earned point and a movement in the right direction. Whether it's too late or not is obviously a different discussion to be had.
Jeff, was it a penalty? Because that's what everyone's talking about.
Well, we were lucky not to have it given against us, but I felt more positive generally about the defensive organisation. I mean, to keep a clean sheet is like 3 points, I think, actually. And they looked much more organised. I'm really liking Lloyd Kelly alongside Nathan Ake. I think that looks super solid. Ramsdale was coming for crosses, which he doesn't normally do, and I thought that helped as well. And the midfield as well, I thought, put in a massive, massive effort in coming back, tracking back, giving professional fouls away when we needed to. So that was all good. Going forward, we had chances. I thought Callum and Josh played their hearts out, ran for the team, created lots of opportunities, and those were all pluses. Without actually, we didn't really create anything super clear cut apart from obviously the disallowed goals. We won 2-0 disallowed goals, so that's something, I suppose. And that Harry Wilson chance at the end, I was heart in the mouth thinking he's going to score. Mm. But that really was our only gilt-edged chance in the game. So I don't think we can be too unhappy. To get a point is good. Moves us up a place, albeit temporarily, depending on Villa against Man U. But I feel much more positive that we didn't give up from 10 or 15 minutes on. Everyone played their hearts out for each other, and that was really encouraging.
I've got Paul Kenwood here as well, who's with us. And Paul, I'll bring in now. And Paul, do you think that these days in football, we're getting a bit too precious and too sensitive? Because at half-time, Roy Keane and Patrice Evra were adamant that was 100% a penalty. Do you think it was?
Yep, I would have given it if I was the ref. I think the two hands on the back, the fact that he I mean, okay, Harry Kane may have stopped in his path, but he still bundled him over and didn't get the ball. Therefore, to me, penalty. But thankfully, VAR disagree.
To me, I've pushed little trolleys into each other after my shop softer than what that was, and exactly. I didn't feel it myself. And I just think in this day and age where we're looking for decisions, that was one that visibly looked like a penalty. But when you actually look at the actual push that he made, it didn't seem to be that much. And a lot of Twitter accounts like Spurs Express, going off on one saying that it should have been a penalty. But ultimately, that first half performance by Spurs, you could say it didn't really deserve it anyway.
No, not really. I thought we had the better of the game for the whole game, to be honest. Second half, they looked a bit more in it, but they never really threatened us. I think it's 2 points dropped, unfortunately. It was a good opportunity for us to get the 3 points today, and I'll take a clean sheet, like Jeff says. Clean sheet is almost as good as 3 points. It gives the defence and the midfield a good opportunity to build on something. They've got something to defend, but I can't help but think that we fluffed our lines a bit there, especially at the end there. Harry Wilson.
Oh, you know what?
Had a chance to be a hero.
That was the chance for me. So, Tony, how are you looking at this right now? Obviously, they've not updated the column on the right with the draw yet, but the points are still correct. And 3 points adrift. Our goal difference isn't exactly favourable, but what it means is that one of them can drop points in the next match, hopefully lose, and then maybe if we could sneak a win against Leicester, who, let's be fair, they are probably on a par with Spurs, but in terms of the quality that Spurs put out today, Spurs were resting a couple of players initially. Leicester might be, absolutely going for it, sort of given their position, wanting to confirm Champions League football, etc. Is there a chance that after, the next match week, we could be out the relegation zone, or are you not thinking it?
Yeah, of course there is. Yeah, completely. I don't. Yeah, it completely is. I mean, what we have seen is that still nobody's able to string anything together down here. West Ham, the nearest to it, but they slip in away again. I don't see why not. I've sort of changed my feelings on it. I think with us, if our performance is good, we can be happy about that, and that's when we'll start getting results. Now, it could be that we win the last three. Well, maybe not the last three, but we could win 3 out of the last 4. It's still really possible. If we play like we played today, we just need a little bit of luck with that goal. When that goal comes, I think another will follow.
Well, they are. You're both 3 points ahead. So, it would be a goal swing for us to be out of the relegation zone, next weekend. However, the manner of the performance, Jeff, it was a lot better, but we're still seeing a lack of attacking impetus up front, don't you think?
Yeah, I'm more sort of concerned about the lack of fluency. Really, we had a lot of the ball. We broke quite well at times, but there are other times where we were guilty of slowing the ball down when we had the opportunity to break, and I think that's a lack of confidence and belief still in the team. And I think also we were a bit sloppy. We gave the ball away a lot in that game, in promising positions, and sometimes put ourselves under pressure again. So the confidence is seriously lacking, but it's a point. And I was watching that game from about 15-20 minutes in, thinking this feels like a 0-0. I don't know about you guys, but it was one of those games where they didn't offer much. We didn't look like we were going to threaten them too much, and a 0-0 against Tottenham. Yeah, we could have won, but it just puts pressure on the next game, because Leicester is an absolute must-win, particularly if we're going to go to Manchester City and face a 9-1 aggregate defeat. If our Newcastle performance is anything to go by.
How many times are we going to say this?
I don't know.
Until it's mathematically impossible.
You know what? I don't care if we get to Everton and Everton's a bloody must-win, because then at least we've got a chance, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, we were well written off, weren't we? Before this game, we were written off. Everyone thought we were going to lose this. So you got to look at it from an outsider's point of view. If you're not a Bournemouth fan, everyone thought, nailed on, we're going to lose today. That's what everyone was saying, apart from Charlie Nicholas for some reason. So it is a point gained, definitely. And it's the first point we've got since the restart. We should be celebrating that at the very least.
Brilliant. Okay, so we've got Andy waiting. We've got David Cordell as well, Louis as well. Paul's on standby as well. But what we're going to do is we're going to bring in Morgan Scott and also Craig Fullerton, who's standing by. Hello, guys. So, Morgan, I'll come to you first. Always very vocal on here. Did you see an improved performance this week?
Oh, my God. After that VAR celebration that they ruled out, oh, my God. Today's performance was absolutely class. Yes, we didn't get the 3 points, but what I saw was determination from every single player on that pitch, and that's what I expect from AFC Bournemouth. I thought Dan Gosling came back into the midfield and looked very, very, very good. Callum Wilson, I don't know if you guys noticed, but Aaron Ramsdale was playing the ball up to Callum Wilson. Wilson looked so much sharp. I thought he was really good. Again, I thought Lloyd Kelly, he fitted straight in. Him and Nathan Ake looked so comfortable at the back. It was fantastic. Yes, we were a bit sloppy. That 12 minutes was probably the worst 12 minutes of since I've been supporting Bournemouth ever. Yes, we didn't get that 3 points. Hopefully Villa might do us a favour tonight. But it was absolutely fantastic. I sit here now and I think the last time we won at home was against Villa back in February. And the fact that we held Spurs, although they're not playing at their best, is absolutely top of this world. It's like we won the Champions League right now. We got our first point to victory.
A lot of people on the chat are praising a number of players. You know, Ake's name comes out a lot, and Dan Gosling's as well. Craig, George, what did you think of that performance there, mate?
I think I was really encouraged by the Championship players. Actually, a lot of players we've had for a considerable amount of time who really stepped up today. I think Junior Stanislas continues to show his worth in the recent couple of games, and obviously Dan Gosling, you know, a lot of people talking about him, but so important to have those players coming out and showing how much this club means to them, because, you know, the last few years have been a real transition for us. We've gone from being this team that's very much, you know, people see us as little Bournemouth, but, you know, we're so much more than that, and we've really invested, not necessarily in the best way. You know, we've seen some poor investment in the last however many years, but those players like Adam Smith, they were saying on the commentary on Sky, £250,000 signing, and bless him, you know, going down and having to be stretched off. I really felt for him. But those players, you know, I know Adam's had a poor couple of games form-wise, but they're showing how much they care. And, you know, even, you know, Callum Wilson, after a 2-match ban, I thought it was a much better performance from him. So I just really hope that some of these players who have come in recently and maybe don't quite get the philosophy behind this club, maybe they're starting to see the players that really care, the players that want us to stay up. Because this club, ultimately, if we go down, it could be so much more than just our Premier League status on the line. It could be, you know, financial implications. There's a lot of talk on the fan forums, and I'm just hoping that they realise that Bournemouth have come from such. It's quite funny how 11 years ago I was on the coach to Bury for that first game of the season in League Two, and I remember just thinking, you know, if we can have some sort of you know, refresh and just think this is the season we can start to break and get things going. And I just hope the players kind of have that same feeling as when we were in League Two. You know, it's a huge time for the club, and I just hope players like Dan Gosling and all the other players that have come up, that just, you know, they shine through and they just show the other players how much this club means to people. So that'd be great.
Mr. Tiggs, what do you think of that Spurs lineup once you saw it announced at 5 o'clock? Were you shitting yourself, or were you thinking, oh, you know what, we got a chance against these guys tonight?
Do you know what? I think Neil Dawson and Jeff's chat earlier in the week kind of put a different frame on it to me. I saw their front line and thought, wait a minute, this is Mourinho. You know, they're not going to be like playing Liverpool, is it? I was a bit worried to see Harry Kane playing, but we handled him so well, I thought. I mean, he didn't really get much of a chance, much of a sniff at all. And Lloyd Kelly was marking him for long periods of that game. So no, because it's Mourinho, and you know they will get goals, but they won't get loads, will they? So I wasn't worried about you know, a full-on attack. What I was worried about was them nicking a goal here or there. But you know, we concentrated for 90 minutes.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was kind of much better through the sort of first 2/3 of the pitch, I've got to say, and we were very good defensively. In the middle, I thought that Dan Gosling was a great addition, and him and Lerma, Jeff. I thought that, you know, Dan Gosling, a lot of people have been clamouring for him, and you know, a person who gets it and understands, you know, the situation that we're in. People sometimes think that maybe we haven't got the players who actually really know what a dire situation this is, but Dan Gosling, you could see in that interview, you know, he really did get it. And he played today like he got it as well, don't you think?
Well, aside from that 30 minutes against United, that's the first time that I can remember we've been winning second balls consistently in midfield. And Gosling was a big part of that today. And also, he was great at tracking back, helping out. I just feel, I mean, we haven't got a perfect blend. You know, we want to play Lewis Cook because we want someone to play creative through balls. We don't have that. David Brooks, again, you know, we expect too much. I think he's coming back from a long-term injury. He's still off his pace, and he looked like he had a bit of a calf strain there in the second half. So the creativity is worrying. Do you know what? There was something that Neil said to me on that preview show the other day, that, you know, when you're getting relegated, you don't get any breaks, and it does feel like we could just do with a bit of luck. And I felt again tonight, you know, 2 disallowed goals and a missed opportunity, the best chance of the game at the end. Okay, we got lucky with the penalty, but on balance, just give us a bit of luck, you know, please. Let's have a bit of flipping luck. Because if we get that, if we get ahead in a game on that performance, we've got a flipping chance.
When I mean, I don't know about you, but when that goal went in, I went old school with my celebration, and I was just jumping on the spot like 20 times in a row or whatever. But you could see the players' reaction that something was wrong, couldn't you? They went off to that corner and they knew. And Paul, at what point was it you thought, hang on, this is going VAR? Because I saw Junior Stanislas's face, and it was like he knew something was up. And lo and behold, there it was.
I went like that. That's how I celebrated. I went up and then straight to my head, because I saw that King looked like he might have been offside, let alone handball. He was right. And I thought he might have been interfering with play or blocking the goalkeeper's view. So suddenly my thoughts were like, this is not our, we're not going to get the rub of the green on this one. And then it turned out it was a hand of King, unfortunately.
But, I mean, annoyingly, Morgan, it was going in, wasn't it? You know, had that, you know, it was still going in. The trajectory of the ball was taking it into the corner. The hand made no difference. But even still, the fact that it's on camera, it's been pictured, there it is, it's going to be ruled out.
Well, I knew that was going to definitely be, I hate to be a party pooper, but I knew that was definitely going to be ruled out for VAR, because according to the law, if it touches her hand, it has to be, especially, we saw the one that, again, was it Lucas Moura, when it hit the arm, and he was, it looked like he was foul, and that was ruled out. And even Jamie Redknapp criticised at Sky how that should have been a foul and how he couldn't have got out the way of that. So I as soon as it went in, I ran across the room and started saying, "Get in, Bournemouth!" And then it, like, I looked straight at the TV and I was like, "Oh my god, this is going to be VAR." And at that point, I knew. Even the commentary were like, this is going to be chalked out, and I knew it. I've seen so many games of VAR this season. I know people have different opinions on VAR, but according to the letter of the law, that has to be ruled out for VAR because it did hit Josh's arm and hand even. So, you know, yes, it's annoying, but to be honest with you, that point feels like 4 tonight. That was absolutely just incredible. Like, okay, we didn't get the win that we needed, but at that point, hopefully, well, you know, Southampton managed to get a win against City, so hopefully we can.
I love that.
I love that. Yeah. What we're going to do, Morgan, there are people trying to get in. So if you hop out for a bit and then come along in about 20 minutes,
Cheers,
we're going to be online till about 9:30 tonight. So I'll take you out for now. And if anyone else wants to get involved, as you can see at the bottom of the screen there, just go to afcbpodcast.com/take part. Wear headphones, turn your TV down. If you're watching the football, obviously we'll hear that. And then we can get a clear enough sound. And what we're going to do in the meantime is we're going to bring in Paul Lawrence, who is here as well. Paul, your thoughts from sunny, well, I don't know if it's sunny today, but how did you feel after that? Were you feeling sunny?
Yeah, real nervous throughout the whole game. I had so much coffee this morning. Regretted that instantly. And that's the most nervous I've been watching Bournemouth in a long, long time. I mean, the minutes at the end to add on was just something I couldn't really handle. I was really concerned that we were going to get a sucker punch at the last few minutes there. And the boys gave everything. I think when you look at the psychology behind it and the sort of the psychological benefits that we're going to gain from that performance, the idea of not conceding, gaining a point, you can just see the relief and a little bit of the belief from the players. And I think players like Dan Gosling, King and Callum playing up top together. There was an energy and a togetherness from the boys that I've not seen since we've come back. And I know that we need 3 points at this point. I think we all know that. But you've got to think that that's going to give us the confidence. And quite honestly, Eddie Howe, in all of his post-game, conferences, that's all he keeps talking about. He needs something to galvanise the group and to kind of galvanise the younger players to fight harder for each other. And I think that just might be the catalyst. I don't know if it means we're going to go on and start beating teams left, right, centre. But it's given us something to cling on to now. It's given us maybe a structure as well. Because if you look at the way that we were defensively, for that reason, this playing narrow and allowing them to kind of hit us in wide areas, I think that actually frustrated teams pretty bad. I like the idea that we're not letting teams through the middle right now. I like that way we played.
George, do you think it's too little too late in terms of our sort of recent, it was a better performance at United. Ultimately, it wasn't a winning one or one that even got a point, but we showed sparks. And in that, there was a little bit more momentum in terms of the performance, at least. We showed a little bit more fight, albeit not that much attacking spark. But do you think it's something that we could take into Leicester and, ultimately get 3? Because it's got to be now. We're talking about this now every week, but we're thinking, well, a point would be okay, but it has to be 3 now, surely.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite funny because I went to the Leicester away game earlier in the season, and I just remember feeling so downtrodden after that game because Leicester, just showed their class on that day. But after that performance against Tottenham, there's a lot more belief from me. Originally the reason why I wanted to come on the pod tonight was because I wanted to try and instill a bit of perspective for some of the fans that are maybe feeling really downhearted, because I've been watching the podcast and I'm a big fan of it. And I really think it's so difficult with football because, it's a very Jekyll and Hyde situation. When you're experiencing the highs, it's the best thing in the world. And when you lose a game or you're in this situation right now, it feels like everything's about to fall. But that result against Tottenham, I know Mourinho has clearly taken that Tottenham team to a different sort of state. I mean, they're nothing like the team that I saw thrash us at White Hart Lane a season or 2 ago. But, they've got so much talent. There's so much money that has been spent on that squad. And we have got some players, like I said with Adam Smith earlier, that have been bought for next to nothing, and they've come up from the leagues. And we have got that fight in us, and we're showing it now. And I'm going to be watching, the Leicester game with every bit of optimism, and that may be the thing that kind of sucker punches me again after the last few performances. But my goodness, tonight was everything a Bournemouth fan would want. And when we scored, genuinely, I was on top of my sofa, ready to punch the air, so hard that the whole world would have fallen apart. But my wife, bless her, realised it wasn't a goal, and I could, as soon as I turned round, I saw her face, and it was very, very upsetting. I think VAR has done that, hasn't it? I was celebrating so hard,
That's
and it all got taken from me. But
what? VAR does do that. Because, do you remember England v Argentina in World Cup '98 and Sol Campbell scored that header?
Yeah.
I was watching it in the bar at the Little Down Centre with a load of mates. We just turned 18 at that point, so we could have beers. And we ran down the stairs and we ran onto the fields because the AstroTurf pitches weren't there at the time. Went mental and then came back. It's like, what? It wasn't given. And now VAR doesn't give you the chance to do that. Because that there's going to be some kind of decision that could go against you. Whereas that, the referee went blew straight away, and we didn't have a clue. But it sounds like you're holding a lot of optimism then ahead of the Leicester game, and it's a really good chance to get 3 points against them, against a team where we've beaten them, a number of times at the Vitality before.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is that anything can happen in the Premier League. We've shown that countless times, and as much as people, I think, are very much, set on us going down this year, I like to think that, Eddie's record speaks for itself. The players clearly have the ability. It has been a very disappointing few games, but if we can just get a result against Leicester, or, if we can get a result in any sort of capacity, even another draw and the other teams lose, then who knows? We're very much being optimistic right now because a lot of us have decided that we are going down. And the way that Eddie will be thinking is, we're not down until we are down. And that's how we should all be thinking as fans. Because if we start putting that narrative into the club, then there's only one way to go about it. You've got to be positive until the last minute, and then you've got to be humble and accept the fact that maybe, this is how it was going to be. But until we go down mathematically, we've got to fight, and we've got to instill belief in our club because we have got what it takes. It's just about those players going on the pitch like they have today and pulling out a result and hopefully 3 points.
Brilliant. George, thank you for coming on, mate. Really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you very much. And if you want to get involved, remember the links at the bottom. Paul, I'll just come to you before I throw back to Team and Codewood. In terms of our goal difference, someone said on chat, I think it was Ronan, who said, or I just showed this on screen, saying goal difference could be the killer blow. Is it the case that when we go to Man City, it's literally a case of stop them scoring as many goals as we can and just park the bus just to give us a chance in the remaining 2 games? Or do we go for the juggler and try to win it?
It's a good point. I mean, looking at Villa's goal difference, we're saying we're more concerned with Watford and West Ham's goal difference, aren't we? Being something to define, maybe. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I don't think that's in Eddie's thinking, honestly. I think we as fans think that way. I certainly will go into that game thinking let's not concede 5 or 6. You could argue that in the first half, if we've conceded 2 or 3, like I think Newcastle did in that first game, or they looked like they conceded too early, didn't they, Sam? You see a situation where Eddie and Jason have to come together and think, right, we might have to really think about this today because this could get out of hand. I think it's too far gone. Isn't our goal difference so far gone from in terms of West Ham and Watford that it's almost not worth thinking about 5? I see what you're
we're on minus 27 at the moment. Villa on minus 26, Watford on minus 22, West Ham minus 19. So you've got an 8-goal swing there. So it's quite damning, really.
Anything's possible after a 4-0 win against Leicester.
Yeah.
And 9-0 against Southampton.
Absolutely.
I have no idea how Eddie's going to approach that Manchester City game. That's the one about damage limitation and not ruining their confidence. Like you've absolutely said. What I'd say is let's get through Leicester. Let's have a little look at what happens. And then I think you're right. Maybe Eddie, because the other thing as well is Eddie Howe going to consider not conceding the game, but resting someone like a King? Is he going to consider getting Lerma out of the team? Or I think Nathan Ake, I mean, at some point needs a rest, doesn't he? I mean, geez. It depends. If we pick up points against Leicester, he's done, some managers will do this. If we can win against Leicester, he might approach the Manchester City game as any injuries, but also he can't weaken.
Yeah, you're right.
Too bad. Yeah. I mean, that's what I would say on the matter. Let's have a little look at Leicester and see what happens from there, really.
Brilliant. Okay, Paul, cheers for coming on, mate. We're going to let other people in. Thanks for your thoughts. Enjoy the sunny day in Florida. Hopefully it's a good day.
I've got to shoot off, but I'll just say one thing. I think we need 7 points and we'll stay up. That's what we need.
Jeff has spoken.
7 more, Jeff, or 7 more?
7 more points out of the 12. So that's Leicester, Southampton, Everton. We've got to get 7 points from there. Those 3.
Jeff, well, no doubt we'll talk again on Sunday, and the podcast is out on Monday. And if you're listening to the current podcast, it's a bit out of date now. If you do, just go to your podcast app, search Back the Netball with Jeff. Thanks for coming on once again, mate.
No worries. Cheers, guys.
So what we're going to do is bring in a few faces that you've seen before, one of which is Louis, who we're going to bring in. Andy's on standby. He came in and came out. Andy, I'm going to bring you back in shortly. A familiar face, by the way, of Kirk Tovey. So, Andy, I'm coming to you next. So if you're ready, and then Louis and David as well will bring you in. So Kirk, analysis on the game. I always love your pre-match early morning run. There's always a tweet ready for me to retweet at 8 a.m. and always words of encouragement and motivation. How are you feeling after seeing that?
Well, I thought if we lose, it was going to be the last one I was going to do because it clearly didn't make a difference. So I thought what we've seen from the last two games is actually, when I'm evaluating it, is where Eddie is with this current squad and this team. So if we looked at Monday, we looked at playing Man United on Saturday, we were playing the old Bournemouth way, but we were very expansive. And obviously we got punished playing that way. Tonight, obviously, we played similar to Wolves and we were more conservative. The pace of the game was a lot slower. It was good to see that we actually didn't concede any goals and we were harder to beat, which is what I was trying to say this morning. But chances were few and far between. And I think this is where Eddie's team is if he rolls the dice and becomes expansive, he feels that we're going to get punished a lot. But if we sit back, we don't really have that creativity in midfield to open enough chances in a game to win us a lot of matches. That's what I've sort of taken from the last two games. And actually, is this why we're in this situation and where we've been all season?
Yeah, very good point. So, Andy, I'm going to bring you in as well now. You were there just a minute ago. Let's bring you in. Let's try again. See if I can get a picture up on screen. I don't know if you can hear us okay, can you? No, we could see you there, but there's no sound. So unfortunately, you may have to come back in, and we'll bring you in. But it's a good chance to bring in Louis, who's been here, and also David Cordell in Washington as well. So we've had one view from America by the way of Paul Lawrence.
Hey guys, I can't hear you.
Can you hear us now? Maybe not at the moment. So Louis, I will bring you in. You're not eating an ice cream this time, so does that mean you're a bit more pensive?
I didn't have time in between the end of the game and this podcast to go and get one. So
is it a cherry flavoured one that you normally have, Louis? Can I ask, cherry flavoured ice cream or?
No, I haven't got one today. I'll probably get one after. But...
Good man. Mate, like, this isn't the theatre. This is like hardcore AFC Bournemouth supporting we're doing here. But anyway, thoughts on that game? You're usually a person who I find is very placid. Did that get you off your seat today? Or, did anything excite you?
Well, so many emotions. As in frustrated, relieved, optimistic, worried. I mean, 0-0 doesn't do it for us in terms of having a chance at survival, but at least it's something to build on. It's like the first time in the league, first time we've kept a clean sheet since Luton, if you remember that, and first in the league since Chelsea. So, and it's nice actually getting a point, which is a feeling I haven't had for a while.
Yeah, good. Right. Hopefully, Andy, we can see you this time, and hopefully you can hear us. What were your thoughts on that game today, buddy?
So, for me, I think a big improvement had to be, a lot of effort, a lot more people putting in the effort. Dan Gosling in midfield, brilliant, and I just think that was more like we used to be. And, a point is a point. And I think with still some games to go, that could be our turning point to save our season.
We're saying this game after game. Man United, we saw a few bright spots, and today we've seen some more, and we've got a point. Do you think there could be a chance that it is too little, too late, though, Andy?
Well, it always will be. I mean, I think it's been too little, too late for most of the season. We've looked at games. I mean, for me, Crystal Palace away against 10 men, and then we went 1-0 down right at the end, and they did absolutely nothing. And for me, at that point, I said, this is going to be relegation. And we've just seemed to have gone on from there. We've either had, unfortunate VAR decisions against us, some, and some silly mistakes as well. But I think we can't underestimate, what this club has done. I know everyone wants people to say, we expect more, we expect more. This is Bournemouth that has never been, in the top tier. We've done 5 seasons. I'm more than happy. And I still think now, with that performance, there was still a few issues. For me, King didn't seem to put as much effort in as certainly Callum was doing. But I still think that's a point. We're back to 3. And with, a handful of games left, that could still be the point that we needed to save us. Fine margins.
Well, positive thoughts. So, that's what I like to hear. We've also hopefully got David Cordell this time. Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I can now. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Thoughts from Washington?
I thought it was a great performance. I thought we were a little unlucky. I really was hoping the VAR wasn't going to disallow it, but I think in the end, as others have said, it did hit the hand. So technically, it has to be ruled a no goal. But I don't know. I just thought we played really well. I thought Kelly was fantastic in the centre back position. I thought Dan Gosling made a huge difference. I think we're going to get. I think we're going to beat Leicester. We've beaten Leicester before. I think we can do it again. I think it's going to come down to the last game of the season. I'm going to make a prediction. We're going to score in the last minute, and Watford's going to lose in the last minute. We stay up, and Watford go down.
Well, you know what? I'd be ultimately extremely pleased by that. Now,
reminds me of the game that got us the league when the
exactly
against them. That would be perfect.
Yeah, it would be a perfect ending to a season, wouldn't it?
Ronan on the chat said, any news on Smithy's injury? We've got a tweet from Peter Rutzler that we can show on screen saying Eddie Howe says that Adam Smith is sitting up in the changing room and is talking. He's got a bump on his cheek, but he should be fine, which is good news. And you know what? That is good news, isn't it, David? Because as much as he's been getting a little bit of stick online, it has to be said, and from people on the podcast, including myself and a few others, he did put in a shift today, and I thought he had a good game, and he certainly turned it around somewhat.
I think the one thing that was really impressive to me today is we were going in to try to win every ball. Right in the past, in the last couple of games, there hasn't been that effort. Today we saw that effort, and for me, that's all you can ask for, right? You want to, even if we don't stay up, at least if we go down fighting, then we feel that we've given it our all, and we can't make a comeback next year. But at least go down fighting. And today we had real fight. So I think I still think we're going to do it. I really think we're going to beat Leicester. I think we're going to surprise City and maybe get a point. Stuff Saints. And hopefully beat Everton. There we are. Easy, right?
David called out, I want to live in your head. That's brilliant. David,
is that American optimism?
Mate, I love it. If you want to follow David, what's your Twitter handle,
DC, we have to DC in Washington, and also we have the a group called Nachos, which is the North American Overseas Cherries. We're actually going to be watching the game live on against Leicester. They're going to have our video. About 15 of us are going to be watching it, and they're going to kind of display it throughout the game over here in the States. So should be good.
Brilliant. David, thank you for coming on. Really appreciate it, mate.
Thanks a lot. Let's go.
Come on, Cherries. Right. Andy, I'm not sure if you saw, but there were a few screen grabs on Twitter of a number of incidents during that. Now, the first one obviously was the push on Harry Kane, but the second one was a spit on Jefferson Lerma. Did anyone else see that? Andy, did you see it?
No. Yeah, I mean, the penalty for me, it's a bit clumsy with King, but I mean, as you said about the shopping trolley, scenario, I thought Kane went down very easily. It's one of those. I mean, we've had bad decisions against us. I mean, I remember at Palace that time, Steve Cook put his hand on somebody's shoulder, and that was a penalty. They go. Sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. And the spitting incident, I didn't see, unfortunately, so I can't make any comment on that. But as I say, it's a positive performance. I mean, the Aki being captain, that has got to have gelled the team, I think, with Gosling as well. Ake as captain, there's a few games to go. Things, in this league, anything can happen. And for me, it's a great result tonight, and I'm more than happy. So I can't say much more than that, really.
Andy, appreciate you having on, and thank you for your patience as well. I know you have to wait a while. Thank you very much. And cheers, Andy. Nice to speak to you. Thank you very much, mate. Appreciate new people coming on the chat. And if you want to be on, male, female, young, old, whatever, you're always welcome. Now, another person that we've got is Reese. We're going to bring him in very, very shortly. And also Craig is on standby too. Morgan will come to you shortly too. Craig, Tiggs. I haven't brought Craig in yet. There we go. Craig, did you see that on Twitter? Like people, did you see that that spitting incident that people are showing on Twitter about Lerma getting like spat on, because I sort of wondered at the time, why was he getting so aggressive towards the end of the first half? And then you sort of see the screen grab and you think, oh, well, that's why.
No, I didn't, to be honest.
I'm asking the wrong people.
Yeah, to be honest, I haven't really looked at it very much. To be honest, today, Twitter, but yeah,
that's a good scoreline, by the way. That's a good scoreline. That's what we all want to see. Yes. Man United need to stuff a few more past them, and we'll be happy. But yeah, Craig. Anyway, like overall thoughts of the game. Anyway,
I thought we did quite well, actually. I thought we managed the game well. We nullified Spurs' attacks. Smithy was fantastic, actually, today. He was really, really good. Stacey, when he come on, was very, very good. We was unlucky not to win it. And I think, had that happened last season, we definitely would have. Curse of bloody VAR again.
But you've got to say, if that had been given, if that goal had happened against us, we would be thinking, yeah, VAR's done the right thing there. It's just for the fortune. It's just for the fact that we're in our situation we're in. We all thought, my God, we've scored in the 86th minute or whatever it was. It could have been, what was it? 90 something. I can't remember. It was 90. And it was going in anyway, and that's the annoying thing. But he did put his hand on it, and it's just the letter of the law these days. But you could say that VAR was maybe incorrect, as some Spurs fans seem to think, about the goal. Well, the penalty that they maybe should have had when Josh King, not looking at the ball, went in two hands on Harry Kane. What were your thoughts on that? And was your heart in your mouth at that point after saying that?
I think it again could have gone either way, and. It was one of those. If it was last season, it wouldn't have even been a talking point. I think we would have got that goal. Had that been last season. It was frustrating. It was frustrating because I think we deserved it in the end. With the amount of opportunities, we nullified Spurs well. Lloyd Kelly was fantastic.
What were your thoughts? I mean, I'm just reading a number of comments, and I'll try to get them on screen. Sometimes I get sort of taken away by the conversation. But Ronan's saying that Rico had a good game at left back, and Craig, I was thinking of you actually at 5 o'clock when I saw that team. I thought, almost spot on. Apart from the fact that we all thought that. Kelly would go to left back and Steve Cook would start, didn't we? I think that's what we said. But he actually persevered with Kelly, and like you say, he had a bloody good game. And Rico didn't do too bad either, you could say.
Yeah, I thought Kelly did really, really well, and I think he's going to be a fantastic player if we do go down. To be honest, if we stay up, I think he'll eventually make that position his own with the showing that he's done.
I think he has already, Craig.
Yeah,
I think he has. I think I was just talking to Paul Kenwood about it, and I think I don't think Cook walks straight back in until the Man City game, and then we'll probably go through at the back. But I don't think. I think you can't. I mean, you look at that performance today, and even moments against Man United. I think he deserves to keep that place.
Yeah, I think Lloyd Kelly's like the next Nathan Ake. Like I'm upset about the goal. I was screaming my head off. It was limbs. You don't understand. Like the limbs. And Harry Wilson's last chance was so upsetting.
Mate, I saw that Harry Wilson chance, and the way it just turned out, and I saw him on the right flank, and I thinking, Josh King, please get the ball to him. And oh my God, maybe he should have taken it a little bit earlier or whatever, but he tried to dink it in the end. It wasn't the right decision, but we did have moments to win that match, and these are the moments that we should maybe be thinking, look, Spurs, not a bad side. We managed to manufacture chance against them, Reece.
Do you know Callum Wilson scored in the same minute Nathan Ake scored last season?
Oh, did he? Did he? Exactly the same. albeit we didn't have the 12 minutes of injury time to live through last season. We only had a few, but Reece, how are you feeling with the league table looking how it is now? We're obviously still 3 points adrift, but it was a good point against a good side.
Yeah, I'm happy and disappointed at the same time. I think we deserve the win. I've lost my train of thought. There's something I was going to say. I'm just trying to remember what I was going to say.
I think what you were going to say is Back of the Net is the best podcast in the world, and if you want to subscribe or hit the like button, you can do. Well, if you're watching this video on YouTube or Facebook, do remember to hit the like, and also if you're on YouTube, do subscribe as well, because that does really help us. Plus, if you want to take part at the bottom, there you can see it. All you need to do is just grab some headphones, plug it in, and these guys have done so, and we'll get you on, whoever you are. We're going to be around for till 20 past 9, half 9 tonight. We're not going to take too while. I don't know if me blabbering on has enabled you to regather your train of thought, Reece, has it?
Oh no.
Okay.
Tell you what, Sam, while you're plugging things, can I plug the funnel forecast? We're looking for people to come on. If you come on the funnel forecast and you beat Tony, you're going to win yourself a coaster bottle opener. A back of the neck coaster bottle opener. You want that. You need that in your life. I'll tell you, if we get enough of those out there, we're bound to get 3 points against Man City.
I don't know how Steve Hensman is doing this week against Tony Funnel yet. We'll have to look. But Steve was giving me grief on this chat earlier about me saying in 1998 I watched that England-Argentina match at the Little Down. Like, I was 18 at the time, and he said, 18? Who are you? And he said, it's something about the Himalayas. I need to find that quote. But you basically, yes, I was relatively young, and he was talking about a paper round, I think. And I actually did a paper round, right? And back in those days, I haven't got a clue what the Sunday Times is like now, but in those days, it was so fucking heavy. My dad had to put the newspapers in in his boot and take me round, and I'd be putting the putting the papers in each letterbox because they were so heavy. Like nowadays, it's all online, isn't it? So that doesn't happen. I'd love to see that. And yeah, we have got these branded back of the net bottle openers. I've not got one here, but they are coaster straight bottle openers. And if you want to come on the funnel forecast, you're more than welcome and challenge an ex-AFC Bournemouth goal-scoring legend. And Kirk, a goal-scoring legend is what we sort of need at the moment. And Callum Wilson, we thought he was that guy. And emotions at the time, it was limbs for Reece. What was it like for you?
Yeah, I mean, he's sort of been all out of sorts this season, hasn't he? And I thought in the first half, him and King were a bit lightweight up top, and especially when I thought Gosling played really well. And I thought when we got the ball in the middle of the park and just the nature of the pace of the game that we were playing at, which both teams were comfortable with, there just wasn't that opportunity to give a decent chance to King and Wilson. But, the last 10 minutes, the good chances seem to fall to us. We just haven't had that luck, have we? Is that going to be the story of our season? Who knows? Where is Callum Wilson at his best? And that's in the box, in the 12 yard, in those 12 yards, in those 6 yards. That's where he's always been clinical. That's why you keep him on. I mean, there's times this season when I thought he should have probably come off the pitch at stages, but that's why he's in that team. That's why you have him in that area, because he can just come alive at any point. I'm just gutted for him, really. And King will be feeling not very good right now.
Good, I love Gosling.
It was a better performance by Callum Wilson, though, on the whole, wasn't it? He seemed to be, getting in between, like when we play a ball forward, over the top or through the lines, it always seemed to be in the last few matches, well, apart from the ones he's been suspended, that the defenders always got there first, but he seemed to be getting in front of them, drawing the foul or holding it up, and then, letting the midfield come onto it and just keeping the momentum going forward, which was a lot better for us, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he's always been that for us, hasn't he? He's always been chasing down the lines and, winning those free kicks in areas where we can drop it in the box and bring our centre backs up. I did think in the first half, as I said, I thought King was so many times it come up to him and then straight away we're turning back and we're facing towards our own goal, our own goal, and we weren't really holding that ball up in the first half, and it was a bit frustrating. And also what was frustrating was when Callum was winning those opportunities of free kicks, we wasn't making the most of it. I thought Rico had a good game, but some of those free kicks were just too close to Loris, or Stanislav's corner weren't clearing the first man. So those are the opportunities when you think we've really got to make these count, because we don't know how many chances we're going to get, and when you're not even clearing the first man or putting it too close to the goalie, it's just frustrating. But I thought in the second half, King and Wilson were a lot better. I thought King came alive. I was a bit disappointed because he played so well against Man United, and then he seemed to be jogging an awful lot in the first half, but he came alive in the second half. There was a situation where he obviously went down the wing and took the right back on, and he come alive a bit. And I thought the last 10-15 minutes of 90, I thought we really showed what we were all about, and I felt like we were going to get something, but we just don't seem to have luck on our side, and I hope that's not going to end up being the end of us.
Hope not. Louis, who would you be taking in? Which players do you think deserve a start next? Well, I say next week. I mean, the games are coming thick and fast. On Sunday night against Leicester at 7 o'clock. I mean, Lloyd Kelly seems to have got a lot of applause on the live chat here.
Yeah, I think it'll be really tough to drop Kelly after that performance. I think, so definitely keep him in. I could see Rico starting. It's nice seeing people playing in position once. I'm thinking, I don't know if Sam worth giving Sam Sarge a chance. Maybe to start.
Yeah, I you know what? I just don't think so.
Maybe.
Yeah, you know what? We've spoken about it for so long, but I don't think it's going to happen. Louis, I'm going to bring someone else in now. Thank you very much for your thoughts this week, buddy. Sam Sturridge, it's another person that, people think, could be the answer up front. And, never sort of, never seems to be in the equation, and it's either Dom Solanke that comes in before him. But Reese, Sam Surridge, you've spoke about about Dom Solanke before, and
you're not say that name on the podcast.
Maybe not for him. Go on.
Can we not say that name about that striker who I don't want that name. Sam Sturridge way better than Dominic Solanke. Do you know a fun fact about Joshua King? His goal got disallowed at Burnley, but he scored at Chelsea. His goal got disallowed against Newcastle. He scored against Man United. That's a fun fact.
You, mate, you are brilliant at the party. what a fun fact. But on the whole, buddy, I mean, you must take a lot of heart from that, because the team showed a lot of desire and a lot of passion, and it's just not culminating in the final third, but we did manufacture more chances. I mean, Stanislas had that chance early doors, towards the end of the first half, that was kind of palmed away, and we got a corner for it. I mean, we got so many corners actually in the first half that we didn't really sort of capitalise on. But, on the whole, it's a better feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm happy that we got a point. Like, we did a really good performance, but the fact is we just didn't get the win. Like, that's what kind of upset me. Like, we didn't get the 3 points what we deserved. I mean, Spurs looked the better team on paper, but we were the better team in the game.
Yeah, agree, mate. All right, buddy.
I'm happy with the point.
Yeah, I think the point is good, mate. I'm just going to bring you out 1 second. I'll keep you in, but we'll bring you in later. But also, Steve is standing by. Andrew Corbin, we can see there, and Max as well. Oh, Steve was here, but he's not in anymore. So Max is also around as well. So hopefully we can bring Max in at this point. Max, can you hear us okay? Just sort this screen out there. Max, can you hear us okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thoughts after that?
Yep. I was just robbed, to be honest. Let's say, but unlucky. Got a goal, but it was ruled out, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it wasn't. I mean, it was right, and if that goal had gone against us, I would be absolutely distraught. But all round, one sort of positive thing is that we're not here talking about players that fucked it up for us. We're actually talking about good things, and there's no individual that we're sort of pinpointing, thinking, okay, you were a weakness, you were a weakness. Each and every player seemed to put in a better shift, and let's face it, the standard of Spurs, whilst they maybe weren't at full strength or whatever, still very good, and leagues above where we are. The Premier League is leagues within leagues. And, they are, amongst the top league in the Premier League, and we're amongst the bottom league. And you've got to say that we competed well against them and arguably had the better chances because we negated a lot of their opportunities that they had, didn't we?
Yeah, we do. But the thing is, we created a lot of chances today. I thought we'd at least got a few goals, but we had a lot better momentum today than we did the past games. But I was thinking to myself, maybe if we get a win or a draw today, we might have hope because we could beat Leicester or get a draw. But you just hope and just hope we can stay up, but you never know. But who have we got next game? Is it Man City?
No, Leicester on Sunday night, I think, and then it's Man
Leicester
City
at home.
Yeah, and then obviously we've got.
If we play.
Go on.
Yeah, my connection's going out a bit, but I'll see if I can keep going in the podcast. But yeah, Leicester at home is going to be a bit of a tough game. If we played like we did against Spurs, then I reckon it'll be a close game because even though Leicester scored a late goal against Arsenal and they showed good fight at the end, but if we play like we did against against Tottenham, and we do that against Leicester, I reckon it'll be a close game.
Would you change anything, Max, or would you keep everything the same as it was today?
What, the team?
Yeah.
Yeah, I will keep the team, but obviously I don't know about Adam Smith because I heard that he didn't he go unconscious because of that challenge that he went into.
Yeah,
I think he's going to be okay though. It looks like he's going to be okay.
Yeah, and we had to. I think if Smith's not fit enough, then they might have to put in Jack Stacey for the next match. But Diego Rico today was a good player. I thought he was a very good player, and just gutted that we had our goal taken away because of Josh King. But I look back at the highlights, and if I think it still would have gone in if King didn't in the way. It still would. I personally thought would have still gone in. As I watched back on the Sky Sports thing, I personally thought it had gone in. And then there's me shouting downstairs because we scored. And then I'm like, here we go. VAR's going to play its part and just going to rob us. I'm like, yeah, thanks. Thanks very much. Done us a great job.
Honestly, yeah, VAR.
To be honest, I thought, who was it? Was it
Go on.
Eric Lamela and all? The amount of challenges he was putting in. I thought at least, they got booked. But, we got away with the Harry Kane penalty. But, I thought he'd gone into his own man, but I think it was King that shoved him over. At first, I was calling him a fairy cake because he fell over like tomorrow, but, we're lucky not to concede a penalty.
Brilliant. Yeah, good stuff, Max. Thank you very much for coming on. And Steve is standing by. Morgan, we're going to bring you in shortly as well. But this man, Andrew Corbyn, is... Oh, well, I can see him, but I can't. Well, I could see him off screen. Andrew, can you hear us okay? He's got his microphone muted. You might have to come back in the room, Andrew. Andrew's from Diverse Abilities. We spoke about him before. He's been on the blog, so you all know about him. Top man. Love his opinion and love his player ratings. In one of them, he said Bournemouth's performance was -7 out of 10, which was superb. But Steve Henderson was standing by. Steve, I don't know how your funnel forecast is going down this week. Have you been monitoring progress?
I have been. I think me and Tony were level pegging before tonight, and now I think he's edged in front of me. So that bottle opener's safe, Sam. I think you can hold on to one.
We've not even produced them yet.
I'm truly gutted, actually.
Oh, yeah.
That was a Christmas gift I didn't have to worry about this year.
How you
The
feeling?
wife's going to be really gutted, Steve, I'm sure.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about that performance anyway, Steve?
Well, I'm feeling actually I can't believe the transformation tonight. I think we were front to back. We were so much better. The defence looked solid. The midfield was fighting for everything. Second balls, as people have said before. And we made a team that was played in the Champions League final last year. We reduced them to having no shots on target. You can't really ask more for that than that. Well, we could have done with a goal, obviously, but wasn't to be, was it? Sadly.
No,
I mean, all I thought noticeable with, sorry, Sam, all I thought noticeable with tonight is just the tempo, obviously, and how Eddie, set us up tonight was to just play at a slower tempo, but to not make us so open. And I can appreciate why he did that. But that does come with its flaws, obviously. But I thought we looked, I said to it last night, I think, Sam saw it, I would have taken a 1-0, creating half chances for Tottenham, and we should keep the door shut, and we look solid. I said that last night. I'd love to take that. But you look at the United game, we were so much more on the front foot and attacking. But then we have the issues at the back where mistakes happen because we're so open. And I think, as I said, that's where Eddie's problems have been lying all season, really, is he's built this squad, but he doesn't trust his squad enough to play free-flowing football and expansive football. And if we shut up shop and try and be almost park the bus, we haven't got enough creativity that can break the lines down. And that's where I think we're at. And I think we've seen that in the last 2 games. And this is where I think I've established tonight where Eddie's his problems have been on the training ground.
Yeah. Yeah, you're bang on there. And we're going to try Andrew again. And Andrew, can you hear us this time? No, you know what? It's a bit of a weird one. I can see him offline, but cannot see him on. Andrew, try another time, buddy. Not too sure what's going on there, but we can't bring you in. So Morgan is going to come in again. And yeah, what Kirk was saying there, Morgan, it seems to be, whatever kind of Eddie is saying to the players on the training ground is slowly working, but you get the feeling with 4 games to go, one of them being against an absolute powerhouse at the moment, and one being Southampton, who are on fire, albeit maybe not today. Was it 1-1 in the end with Southampton and Everton?
I didn't see the final score.
Yeah, I think you're sort of wondering, have we got the games left that we can actually get the points?
Well, I think if we play like what we did today, I think we have every opportunity against Leicester. Leicester haven't, although they're a very, very good side, they've been not getting results since restart. So I think if we play like that against Leicester, I think 100% we could get a 3 points. And to be honest with you, I'm going to be optimistic, but I reckon we could turn City over after today's performance. And,
you're drunk. You're drunk. You've had too many beers, mate. You're drunk. How many beers have you had? Put it away. Put your
I'm completely sober, but no, to be honest with you, sorry about my vocals, by the way. I went absolutely bonkers after that goal that was chalked off the VAR. So, yeah. Let's hope I don't get tonsillitis. But yeah, no, 100%. And I think after the City, I watched that City game against Southampton. I missed the first half, but I thought Southampton defensively against them were absolutely amazing. And I reckon Bournemouth have got a really good opportunity against City. If we do need to find a goal from somewhere. I don't know where it's going to come from. If it's going to come from Dom Solanke, put a pound on that at the moment. But yeah, no, 100%. But to be honest with you, what I would like to see Eddie do is give Sam Sturridge a little go. We spoke about it at length, but you think about it. Sorry about my vocals, by the way. I might need to go in a minute. But
when you say vocals, a lot of people on chat are talking about the fact you're saying Sturridge rather than Surridge, as if it's Daniel Sturridge. It is Sam Surridge, just to clear it up. I mean,
I'd like to see him score from Turkey or wherever he is.
yeah. But, Morgan, he's proved that he can do it within 5 minutes of playing against a high-profile side in the FA Cup against Arsenal. So, do you feel almost that he's maybe not doing enough in training? Because Warren Cummings in our interview that we did with him. You've spoken to Warren Cummings yourself on your Instagram channel with an extended interview for about 30 minutes or so. And, Warren said to us that, Eddie, yes, he does have loyalty, but the fact is he doesn't pick players on blind loyalty. He'll always go with players that have done well that week in training. And you just got to think, well, Sam Surridge, although he has showed moments when he's on the pitch, maybe off the pitch he's not as good as Solanke. Maybe. I don't know. What do you think?
No, 100%. Like Ashley mentioned, Sam, I was very lucky to speak to Warren, like yourselves. And I think Solanke is obviously, maybe, I don't know how, but without sounding to be disrespectful, but he's obviously showing more than Surridge. I think I got it right in the end this time. But I think he's showing a little bit more. I think he's showing a little bit more than Dom's showing a bit more than him potentially, but I don't know how that works out. But hopefully Eddie will maybe give him a chance. But as I say, I think we got more chance of beating Man City than Surridge having a go. Anyway, I'm going to get off here before I muck up again. But thanks for having me on, and let's hope we get a win against Leicester, and let's hope we. I hate to say it, but I reckon we're going to get a win against City.
Well, I'd love to see it, Morgan. Appreciate that, mate.
I want whatever he's drinking.
I want whatever he's drinking. And to celebrate what Morgan's saying, I've got this random. It's like drink roulette around here. I've got a kind of. What is this? Is it even alcoholic? I'm not even sure.
Lemon and
Sam, I tell you what, if we beat Man City, I think I might streak from Boscombe all the way to Bournemouth.
How do I record this? Oh no, we're live. Yeah.
With Surridge tonight.
I don't think I want us to win now, Craig.
Cheers, mate.
We heard it here first. It might be a 2:00 a.m. so no one can see you, but after the next with our webcams, don't worry.
That's the same.
We've got Rich here. Steve's come back in as well. Before we do that, we're going to bring in Andrew Corbin as well, just for a quick little chat, and hopefully this will work this time. Andrew Corbin, we can see you this time. Andrew.
Yes.
How do you feel, buddy? What do you think about that performance? Was it better?
I reckon that goal should have gone in, Sam, and I reckon that goal should have been counted for.
It should have, but VAR rules state that maybe it shouldn't have because it did hit his arm. But do you think it was going in anyway?
It looked like it's going in anyway, didn't it?
It did. So are you not a big fan of VAR then, mate? I'm taking that silence as a no. I mean, Tony, VAR, I think I said on a previous podcast, right? Do you remember we mentioned the season against West Ham? It took them 2 minutes and 28 seconds to give Josh King's goal. I think it was an equalising goal at the time. I don't think it was an opening goal. I think we pulled it back. I can't quite remember. And, it only took... No, sorry, it was 2 minutes 20. Or something like that.
You timed it.
James, we took 2 minutes. What was it? That was it. 2 minutes and 8 seconds for them to allow Josh King's goal. James Hayter scored a hat-trick in 2 minutes 20. So just 12 seconds more. I mean, it's very easy for me to say that it's killing the game based on what it's done to us after today, but do you feel as though it is?
Well, yeah, because we're bottom of the league, Sam, near the bottom. I mean, I don't think probably teams at the top of the league. I don't think Liverpool are looking back on the season and thinking it's ruining the game. So, I mean, I'm not a fan of it. It doesn't like the lemon and mint. It disjoints it, doesn't it? It makes the game feel disjointed. But it's not going to go away now, is it? I mean, we're not going to be able to force it out. Certainly not from our position. What we need is we need all the big teams to get really angry about it and want it gone. I mean, but I don't think we're gonna be able to do anything about it.
The game that killed it for me was the Burnley game. VAR in the Burnley game.
Ridiculous.
Has there ever been a more annoying game of football?
But was that the referee or was that VAR? I mean, you can sort of blame a bit on both, really.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, but
you take control of it.
I think it's the people that make the decisions, because fair enough, if there's an element of doubt, it should go to VAR. But when you see them making the wrong, what seem to be the wrong decisions, then you question, well, what's the point in VAR? And Adam Smith's handball, whatever, that was not a handball. It came off his shoulder, and it's what they kind of freeze these frames that are still really blurry. And you'd think in this day and age they could get it exactly right, and you still see this like really fast motion of where it hits, and you still have got no real idea. Sorry, Kirk.
That slowing it down makes everything look magnified, doesn't it? They shouldn't slow that down. They should judge it in real time. Watch a replay, but have it in real time. Make a decision based on that.
I mean, my problem with VAR has been all season is I think they've done too much too soon. I mean, the goal line technology, they spent time building that equipment and it works. Have they just tried to manipulate too much of the game too soon? So could they have gone, right, we're going to do this with VAR to a point, and then go, as the seasons go on, try something else and something else and something else? It's almost like they're trying to influence too much of it too soon. And this was meant to be clear cut. This was meant to eliminate everyone's conversations in the pubs. And it's not done that. We're still having conversations. We're still having Twitter debates and going, oh, well, was it or wasn't it? And that for me is where the issue is. And is there enough footballing people behind it? That's my other argument. Is there any ex-pros behind the discussions in, okay, we're just going to call it handball regardless if it was meant or not meant? And I'd like to know whether if it's non-footballing people making all the rules or trying to have too much of an input. That's where my concern's been all season, really. I also don't think we've had the rub of the green on it. I mean, I know they say it evens itself out. I mean, I can't pinpoint every single one, but I don't think it's evened itself out for us.
Well, the fact is, it shouldn't have to even itself out, because the fact, with VAR,
it should be right or wrong.
Exactly, it's either right or wrong, and it's if it's a case of having to even itself out, then why even have it in the first place? Because that's what it's supposed to do. We brought Rich in as well, and Rich, you sounded very disheartened after the last performance, but are you a little bit more cheerful this week?
Well, I'm going to speak a bit quieter this time, because as well as all that, I woke my daughter up, so it all went well last time. But no, feeling much happier, to be fair. Obviously it's only a point. I was gutted that obviously that goal got ruled out at the end. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the fight, which is what I was saying last time, the fight determination was not there. It definitely was tonight. I can't really fault the performance. Another worrying moment when Ramsdale went down, but hopefully he'll be okay. He didn't just sort of patch himself up to get through. I'm hoping he's going to be fine for the next game. But yeah, overall I was much happier, and obviously gutted not to get the 3 points. But if we had a choice between getting 1 point and no points, then just still don't know if it's going to be enough.
I think the fact that Adam Smith going down, a lot of people were worried, but maybe not that worried, given that Jack Stacey's put in so many good shifts when he's been involved, and he's a like-for-like player that will get up the flanks and attack, and he's as good as understudy as anyone, really, isn't he, when he comes on?
Yeah, no, definitely. He's put in a good performance. Once he gave the ball away once when he first came on, but he settled down after that and put in a good performance. And Rico did as well today, so I was happy with that.
In terms of that back line, say we get relegated, Rich. Say we do. Hopefully we won't. There are still matches left, and it's really strange, because these matches, each and every game that goes past, my emotions sort of go higher and lower. And the kind of hopes, you go like percentage wise, like, oh yeah, 60% going down. Oh no, it's down to 40% now. And even after that Watford match in the week, we were thinking, oh no, we're good. It's not changed. It's not changed at all. And I still feel exactly the same, even with like 4 matches to go, albeit, one of them's at the kind of, one of the best teams in the country at the moment. out of those defenders that we've got, if we do get relegated, who do you think could realistically stay out of our defensive backline?
Well, obviously not Ake, but that would be great to see him as a captain next season. But I am dreaming. Lloyd Kelly, I think he'd probably stay. To be fair, I think that.
I hope so, because he was amazing.
Exactly.
Tonight.
I think he's your Ake replacement, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean,
very impressive.
To be fair, tonight, bar Ake, I'd like to see them all stay. I don't know if anyone disagrees with that, but I think possibly. I mean,
I think Stacey will definitely stay. I think he'll be a real asset in the Championship. I think it'll be Cookie alongside Lloyd Kelly, and I think Rico will stay as well. I think, you know, our defensively, we'll have one of the best defences in the Championship by far. And yeah, we are going to lose players, but I was looking at it the other day, and really the only area that I could say is a real concern if we do go down is up front, because Solanke, I don't think will do it in the Championship even. I think Surridge will. I think Surridge will be all right. But I think King will go and Wilson will go, and that'll leave us a little bit light up front. But I think defensively, you know, if we do go down, we'll have one of the, you know, best, well, if not the best defence in the Championship.
And Craig,
ironic.
You go first. Go first, Craig.
Yeah, sorry. Craig, just coming back to, we were quite critical of Smith last week. I actually thought, you know, he was a lot better tonight, and he showed that the aggression and passion to try and win that ball. I've got to hand it to him, because I have been critical of him. But would you sort of agree that actually it was, if you look back on it, what's the best 2 games he's had since Project Restart? Wolves away.
Yep.
And tonight. And funnily enough, they're the 2 games when Eddie's tried to play a bit more of a slower tempo and make us less expansive, when actually Smith has felt more comfortable.
Yeah.
And when we actually then play expansive and we actually play the old Bournemouth way, straight from kickoff, try and get players forward, that's when Smith starts to struggle and make mistakes. And what I've seen tonight is the last time I see him play this well was against Wolves. In the first half. And what I've started to see here is actually, if Eddie's going to go for teams and we are going to play like we did at United, and we're going to try and get that early lead, or we're going to try and score a couple of goals, I wouldn't be chucking Smith in there, because that's when he tends to have an error in him.
What's funny, actually, when you say that, thinking about it tonight, I think Stacey is probably more suited to the old Bournemouth way now. So, you know, I really do rate Stacey. I thought he was a little bit naive at first, but you know, since Project Restart, he really has shone. And you know, I think he'd be a fantastic player. You know, if we do go down, hopefully not. I think he'll make a position his own. You know, in the Premier League, if we stay up, which fingers crossed. You know, we can get enough points to put us over that line.
It's interesting, Craig. I know we are uniquely small, I guess, but one thing I wonder about, I haven't looked into it, but I'd like to know, when teams get relegated, how many players do they sell? Because a lot of our fans, they kind of go through the list of players. You just missed a few there, but some people say it's pretty much everyone. You know, Brooks is going to go. We'll lose Lewis Cook as well. We're going to lose King. We're going to lose Wilson. We're going to lose Ake. And I just think, how many players are we really going to lose? I mean, I'm not saying that they're not worth buying, but would we need to sell everybody? Would everyone need to go straight away? If they've got contracts, would they stay a season?
Well, looking at, you know, the teams that have gone down in the past, I think apart from who's that really talented guy who played for Fulham? He's at Spurs now, isn't he?
Sessegnon.
Sessegnon, that's it. Yeah, to be honest, they've kept, you know, quite a fixed squad. They haven't lost that many players. There is teams that go down and have to sell. And I think, in a way, we're going to have to sell to balance the books a little bit. We'll still have the parachute payments, but with the amount of wages, we can't continue, paying those.
What are the parachute payments? Do we know how much we get and when?
Is it 40 million for 2-3 years?
That sounds about right. I think.
Well, like 40 million each season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was 43.
I'm not sure if it's 2 or.
Well, remember, we'll have to write some of that off because we never meet FIFA fair play rules. So we'll have to let go of some of that.
Yeah.
Going back to the players, I mean, should we make it easy to let them go? I mean, I would be happy to, thank Nathan Ake. I think there's been plenty of opportunities for him to leave, and I think he's shown enough faith in the club that he stayed and tried to help. I would let Callum go. He's been a great servant. I'd happily give him a guard of honour. But when I look at players like Philip Billing, who only signed last year, we shouldn't give him a free card. I'm not saying he should play for us next year, but why should we go and let him join another club and just relegate another team? I'd be happy for him to sit on the bench and watch Sam Surridge and Kilkenny out there and actually make him watch them for a whole year in the Championship. Do you know what I mean? I don't think we should just go, oh, it's all right, you can leave. You just relegated us. There are players
to be honest, though, Kirk, it depends on how much he's on. Each week. We can't. You look at the teams that have gone down and we're in financial ruin. The Portsmouths of this world, Sunderland, Reading, all these teams have had players on ridiculous contracts and not being able to sustain that in the Championship, even after one season of parachute payments.
I mean, I get that. I just don't want it to be so easy that he can perform like Marmite all season and then get another move to the Premier League. I mean, it would be 2 consecutive relegations for him on his CV. As I said, I'm happy for these. I mean, okay, the Josh King one, that's another Ryan Fraser situation. It's not in our court. At the end of the day, we're going to have to accept that we're going to have to let him go because he's got 12 months left on his contract. But I don't think we should just let everyone go. I'd hope to think that David Brooks would probably look and go, do you know what? You helped me through a bad injury. I'm willing to give you a year, maybe try and get us back up. I'd think Lerma, it might be a long shot, but would he give us a year? I just don't. I think a couple of players like Giake and Callum Wilson. I mean, Callum Wilson's, coming, was he 28, 29? Callum Wilson?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's been a great servant. I'd be happy to say, fair enough. He wants to continue his England career, but I don't think we should just let all of them go, or just go, do you know what, we don't want to play in the Championship. No.
I'll be honest, I don't think any Premier League sides would want Billing.
No.
I honestly don't. I think Lewis Cook, I've said it before, I think Lewis Cook will go back to Leeds, where he was originally, where his family's from. I think he'd go there. But I can't see anybody coming in for Billing. I hope he's actually got a wage decrease in his contract, because, and I'm sure Neil Blake's looked at that and thought, right, okay, yeah, if we do go down, to reduce the wages of certain players.
Steve, do you think we've been looking at David Brooks with a little bit too much hope, and we've almost, he's on Twitter, but whether he reads it or not, I don't know, but we've almost put too much on him, and I've not really seen much from him in these few games that he's featured, where you can think, well, someone else might have filled the void better than what he has done.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Sam. I think we've sort of, he was so good for us the season before last that we've kind of just pinned all our hopes on him. Seeing as we were struggling so badly, we were looking for something to reignite us, weren't we? It's a little bit like McGinn. Is it McGinn at Villa? Everyone was sort of saying, yeah, he was going to be great when he came back, and he really hasn't sparked into anything yet. And you've got to say, he's been out for a long time. Brooks has been out for even longer. So to expect him to come back and just, hit the ground running and save our season, I think we were asking, a little bit too much of him. He's still very young, isn't he? And he wouldn't have been through this yet in his career. Maybe if he was a bit older and been through a couple of injuries before, he might have known how to handle it a bit more. But yeah, he hasn't looked his well, certainly not anywhere near what he was last season.
On the flip side, has that potentially kept him at the club for another year? because
Yeah,
he was
exactly.
being talked about at United, and United were in for him. And actually, on his return, are they probably not going to take a punt yet? And they're going to see if he can fully recover from this. It might have done us a bit of a favour, actually.
I think what you said, Kirk. He might give us another year as well, because we've obviously kept faith with him, nursed him through his injury. Fingers crossed, because I think he would absolutely destroy the Championship if we do go down.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, him and Ramsdale are obviously best friends. So I think if Aaron stays, you got more chance of keeping David as well, because obviously he's got no one else down here and everything. Obviously, I know a lot of players do, but I think if one stays, I think more chance of maybe the other one, because obviously they're great friends.
I actually do worry about Ramsdale, and I do think that somebody might come in for him because he's a young English goalkeeper. He's done very, very well in his first season in the Premier League.
And he's just going to get better as well.
He is, yeah. He could eventually knock on the door, of England #1. But okay, I think he's still got a long way to go to get to that stage. But I think it's not beyond him. Jack Butland was being considered at one point. I think Ramsdale's a better goalkeeper than he is.
I think you've got to be careful with that, though, haven't you, Craig? I think there's been so many next young goalkeepers, which getting England caps at a young age is great, but there's been so many that have then gone on to take a little bit of a dip, and then some even nosedive from that point on. So,
well, look at Joe Hart.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking of.
I think what we've got to hope is that Eddie can be that persuasive person that he's been in before when he signed players and kept players for another year. I initially thought that actually our team might be decimated by relegation. On reflection now, sitting here now, I'm thinking we're going to lose a few big players, which we'll have a financial reward for. So that might ease the pain of keeping a few for a year. But Eddie might say, do you know what? We're going to let Callum go. We're going to let Nathan go. But actually, he might be able to convince the likes of Brooks, Lerma, Dan Juma, I think will stay, but the Lloyd Kellys, I think he'll convince them at least give us a year and see if we can have a return to the Premier League and if we can have a really good season. I personally don't know if we can do it. I think we're going to need to settle down again and maybe regroup. But he might say to a few of these, I know you want to go back to the Prem, but 1 year, it's almost like Ferguson said to Ronaldo before he went to Madrid, give me one more season, and I think some of these will, and I think we'll just lose maybe one or two, definitely two big, huge, or three. We'll probably use Josh King, Wilson and Ake, and I think he'll probably convince the others to stay. And that money that we'll get in for those players will probably keep turning over the budgets, the wages. Sorry?
Do you think we'd have to strengthen at all in the Championship, or do you think we've got enough as it is?
Yeah, I think I would, but I think what we could probably do is blood the youth in with what we've got already. Yeah. So I'm looking potentially if we kept Lerma, we could probably blood in Kilkenny. I can never say his name, but we could also bring Offramorth, whatever his name is. He could then be. I can't say his name. I know they're probably not going to play all season, but with Kilkenny and obviously the player at Wickham, we could blood them two in through the season. You've got players like Dobre, Surridge. For me, he's just not going to play that hand this season. I think he would have played it by now. But again, I think we can bring him in. Solanke, who knows? Who knows anymore? I don't know anymore. But I mean, I'm hoping to think I think we've got to accept that there's a good chance we're not going to have Nathan Ake, Wilson and King. Now, if we lost just those three, that ain't going to be a bad result because we'll have a good over 50 million coming for all those three, if we're being honest, and some. And I think he could, and we're going to keep the likes of Goslin. Sermon might get another year, and I think
the old guard would be good squad players in the Championship.
But that's what I mean. And what it could almost do, if we can't really go for promotion again, it will steady us with the Sermons, with the Goslins, with maybe keeping Lerma and Brooks and bringing in Kilkenny's, Dobre's here and there. We might have a pretty good team and a pretty good season next season if we're not in the Premier League.
Well, I was having a little play around with it the other day, and I think Lewis Cook. I'm sure he'll go back to Leeds. It's where his family's from. But would we miss him? Because we've got Goslin, We've got Sermon. I don't think we'd miss him if we went
How old
down.
is Gosling?
30.
30.
Yeah.
It's a shame, it's a shame, really, isn't it? Because we were disappointed when he didn't really break into the team, and we couldn't understand why he wasn't getting a chance. And then he came in, and he was just unbelievable. Breaking the lines down, taking 3 players out of the game with 1 pass. And it was like finally Eddie's given him his chance. He's proved himself. Then he got the injury, and as I've said for a few weeks, he'd never really been the same, really, and he's been in and out of the team ever since. He's been pushed over to the left at times this season in the middle 3 that he's never felt comfortable in, and with all of that, he's lost his confidence, and he's almost become a holding midfielder. I mean, I think Sam said the other week that he had a pretty good game at United or the game before that where he was trying a few things here and there. But it's a shame because I think we did really have a player there. And whether it's to do with the injury or being in and out of the team after the injury, it's not really turned out like it should have turned out, in my opinion. But I think he might stay. I think he might stay. He might be frustrated with not being a first-team regular in his whole time at Bournemouth. I think he might give us another season. You might be right, Craig. He might go back to Leeds. But I thought we had a player there. It was like Wilshere. I thought we were going to sign him and he was going to be a player. But yeah,
we're staying up anyway, boys. I mean, we're staying up. So
well,
what are you talking about?
Looking at we're up last 4 fixtures. Surely, we've got to try. We've got to get the 3 points against Leicester.
Yeah,
we've got a good track record.
In my opinion, it's got to be. Yeah.
Are we not missing something here though?
The must-win game.
We've all been talking about winning our games, and we shouldn't be relying on anyone else. But I am slightly concerned that Watford are playing Newcastle at home on Saturday. Although we shouldn't be worrying about other people, we're in a situation now where we are needing a bit of a favour. For about 2 weeks, Eddie's been saying we're focused on ourselves. It's for ourselves to get ourselves out of this. But I still think we play like that, we might have a chance against Leicester. We might be able to get the win. Man City can't really see much. I still think we need. Like Jess said, 7 points. But I am slightly concerned that Watford are playing Newcastle, and you never know what Newcastle team's going to turn up. That's the only thing I've got lingering.
When I watched Watford's Norwich the other night, I don't think Watford are very good at all.
Well, I mean, Craig, they weren't that convincing, and Norwich were unlucky not to have drawn that game. And I thought that Watford were, a world-class finish from Welbeck, fortuitous. But
yes,
I look at it and think, on the whole, they didn't deserve it. They didn't play that well, and I would like to think in these circumstances we could get a result against Norwich. But their last 2 games are not great. One of them's the last one's away to Arsenal, I think. And then before that, they've got a pretty tricky game. So Kirk, like you say, it is a match where it's kind of like. But then
it's because they're at home as well. They're at home. If they were away from home, I'd probably feel a little bit more confident. But because they're at home and they weren't great the other night, I think, and Norwich should have got the equaliser at the end as well. That was awful.
It's them and West Ham now we can look at as teams that are within our grasp, and we've got 2 teams that could, hopefully make mistakes. We are going to wrap it up. Thank you to everyone that's got involved. We are going to bring in Morgan to finish because he has got a final point to make. But Steve, before you go, the funnel forecast. Well, it's not looking good. But
He's done me today, hasn't he? Well, I think it was 3. I think we had 3 correct answers or 3 correct predictions until tonight, and Saints were winning, which I had, and then they ended up drawing, I think. And I had
He's not an ex-pro for nothing. He knows his stuff.
Well, I know.
This is where
I'm an ex-Saturday League player.
Yeah. Well, Tony, given our stat was £8.05, it's now at £8.29 plus. There is an extra £1.20 that's coming in from the Man United result. We're going to be at like £9.49. We're up, Tony.
It's like the Cherries fortune. It's on the turn.
It is. We're following the same form as the boys, aren't we? It's quite incredible, really.
We're making money week on week. I feel like a financial trader, like Wolf of Wall Street here, like making money.
A whole £1.45, Sam.
Come on, this is it. Right. Anyway, guys, thank you much for coming into the chat today. Kirk, really appreciate your thoughts, buddy.
Thank you very much.
Cheers having you along. And Mr. Tiggs, see you again soon for another Funnel Forecast, of course.
Cherries. See you, buddies.
Steve, sorry you haven't won the bottle opener, but there'll be another time.
Yeah, I'll have a rematch with him.
We'll bring you on. Thanks very much, Steve. Really appreciate it. And Rich as well. Thanks very much for coming on, mate.
Yeah, no problems. Your £1.29 won't even buy you another can of that stuff you're drinking, to be fair, will it?
From home bargaining, well. This is I don't know what this is the real it's Gordon. It's not
yeah. Cheers, guys. See you next
time.
That's
horrible.
Cheers, mate.
Anyway, nice to have you along. Thanks, Rich. And Craig, well, you pretty much got the team right.
Yes.
And the performance was as well, not as good as we wanted it, but it was better, wasn't it? So we got, we got something out of that game.
Yeah, it was a shame it wasn't the 3 points. I feel a little bit hard done by. It hit Josh King's arm. But at the same time, had that been last season, we would have got that win there. So it's the curse of VAR again. I'll try not to mention that bloody Burnley game ever again.
But if it comes down to that, we're going to be all thinking, well, you know what, we can't wait.
Being robbed.
Yeah. Anyway, cheers, Craig. Thanks very much, mate.
All right. Cheers, mate. Take care.
Cheers, buddy. And we're going to just bring in Morgan, who wanted to make a final point as well. Morgan, sorry to keep you waiting.
That's all right.
Go on. Craig Beasley may be on a naked jog after the Man City game.
Yeah, no way.
But Morgan, go on.
Firstly, I think, by the way, Kirk, I think you're like Bournemouth's version of Gary Neville. I think you're absolutely spot on, and you should definitely get your own podcast. I think you're absolutely spot on. Nah, Kirk, I think I listen to people, and Gary Neville's just one of these people that I can keep listening to, and you're like Bournemouth's version of Gary Neville. Everything you say is just absolutely spot on. So listening to you for the last 45 or so minutes has just been amazing.
I think I talk as much as him as well, so thank you for that.
No worries. But the final point I wanted to make this evening, I thought Jack Stacey came on for Obladi Adam Smith. Hopefully he won't be out. It looked quite serious, but hopefully he'll be back very, very soon. Hopefully it shouldn't be too bad. But I thought Stacey came on straight away, and I think it was Alderweireld, his little header. And I thought Stacey just came straight into the team as a sub and just made the back four. He was a bit shaky. I thought he did one thing wrong, but I thought when he came on, he did make that back four as strong as it was from the beginning of the game. And I think that was so important. But yeah, my vocals have got a little bit better. And by the way, I can clarify I wasn't drunk. It was only Diet Coke. But no, I think... I thought Bournemouth, I'm definitely going to go to bed a lot happier, and I think tomorrow's going to be a much nicer day than the other day. And hopefully when we win against Leicester on Sunday and against Man City, then we will be staying in the Premier League next season.
Love it.
Because I do think, I look at the game against Man U are doing us a favour, 3-0 down to Manchester United. Yeah. I reckon I don't know how, but I reckon AFC Bournemouth will remain in the Premiership. After tonight's performance, I am confident if we actually can score a goal, I don't care if it's off Dominic Solanke's knee, I reckon we will be a Premier League team next season. I just think that's something that's going to do it for us. I really do. I think I don't know who Watford have got. I did have a look. I reckon Norwich are going to beat Watford for us, and I reckon we are going to stay up. People are going to think I'm absolutely bonkers, but I believe anything is possible when we are.
Morgan, when does your stand-up tour begin, Morgan? I will buy tickets. I will turn up. I will laugh my head off. I can't wait. Go on,
are we going to have a party at Morgan's if we stay up? If we're allowed?
I think we will.
Yeah, Morgan. I think I don't know what we're going to do, but I think we definitely need to do a Jurgen Klopp star party at some point. I don't know. We should just go outside by
if AFC Bournemouth stay up, I think we should all go to Vitality Stadium and have a massive party.
Good man. Morgan.
I don't know how we're going to do it, but I reckon AFC Bournemouth will remain for the 6th season in a row up in the Premier League.
I think if
Brilliant,
anyone can arrange it, you can, Morgan. So.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. Morgan, who hadn't been drinking, he said he was just on the coke. But yeah, Morgan, appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming on, mate. Really, really good show. And Steve, I can see you, like, you're not on screen. I can see you laughing your head off for the last minute or so. I've been looking at you for the last 60 seconds or so. Who's been loving Morgan's views. Kirk, are you going to do one of these runs on Sunday morning, and can we retweet it? That's the big question.
Definitely will be doing the run on Sunday morning. As I said, if we lost tonight, I was going to bin it off because it seemed to not be a good thing, or it wasn't working. It wasn't. So we've got a point tonight. So I'm going to go with that. So I'll get the run out in the morning. I'll get it posted, and hopefully we can get 3 points against Leicester.
Absolutely, would love that. Kirk, thank you very much for coming on, mate. Really appreciate it. Thank you
for having me. Cheers, mate.
And yeah, no worries at all. And remember, if you want to come on again on the show, that's the address to go to after every game. I'm feeling better. We're running out of time. However, 4 games to go. One of them is a write-off. The other 3, maybe not. 3 wins. Can we do it? It's looking better. We've beat Leicester before. We've beat Saints before. We've beat Everton before, albeit not on their turf. It can be done. Come on, boys, we can do this. Thank you very much for taking part. Remember the podcast. If you haven't subscribed to it, on the app, just search for Back of the Net Bournemouth and you can find us on there. Myself, Jeff, and Neil Dawson have been debating recently about all things that are going on, and there'll be another one dropping on your podcast app on Monday. And do subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't before. Thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it. Up the cherries, and we'll see you on YouTube for more stuff. But if not, after the Leicester game, come on, you Reds.